Welcome to yet another episode of Success Principles by Successful Principles, a parenting project. My name is Kamalneet Singh. I'm an author of a book titled The Extraordinary Kids, a book on parenting and child psychology. I'm also a TEDx speaker and a mindset coach. I firmly believe that every father is a superman and every mother a superwoman, and conscious parenting is their superpower. While the Supermans and the Hulks and the other Avengers can have their own superpowers, but I strongly feel that every parent has a superpower, and that lies in their conscious parenting. And in this series of Success Principles by Successful Principles, we aim to make this journey between the parents and the kids a cherished one. You ask any parent that what do you really want for your kids? And they have a very simple answer to this. I want my kids to be happy. I want my kids to be successful. I want my kids to be good human beings. Now, well, that's the desired outcome. And we totally understand that this is something that everybody looks at. But how do we really how do we really move towards attaining this outcome of raising happy, successful, and kids with a lot of values as well? Now, with this project, we aim to bring a lot of educators from different parts of the country and few parts of the globe so that they can come forward and share their experiences on parenting and helping you as parents make the best out of this relationship. Now, this is a very special episode. I have somebody with me who is an exceptional guest, somebody who sits on a lot of experience, somebody who can give you a new idea, a new filter, or a new glass to look at this whole subject of parenting. Now, before taking too much time, let me give you an idea as to who do we have with us. I'm very glad to announce that on this show today, we have with us Miss Anubha Srivastava, the principal of Delhi International School, Edge Dwarka. Now, somebody who sits on experience which is as big as 2 decades. I'll give you a little more brief. Now, she's somebody who has taken the school from grade 8 through process of recognition with DOE GNCTD and affiliation with CBSE. The school is now a senior secondary school under her leadership. DIS Edge needs no introduction for all the achievements that the school has done under her capable leadership. As I said, she's over 20 years of experience in the academic field. She's passionate about environment, greenery, and values in children. If she is not teaching, she can be found in a garden. That's interesting. Or creating awareness in the society about environment, or sitting with children, nurturing their values through her jukebox of stories of real life heroes. A postgraduate in science with a research experience in molecular biology and medicinal phytochemistry. She has served educational sector in various roles. She has successfully nurtured her skills through kindergarten years, primary learners, and has spent her teaching career with secondary and senior secondary students. Prior joining to the schools, she was associated with NSIT, Dwarka in the Department of Biotechnology, and has also taught MSc and PhD courses in Pantnagar University. Now, she's been often invited to various academic institutions, schools, and think tanks, as well as on CBSE capacity building programs for teacher training to speak on areas like teaching methodologies of science and biology, pedagogical practices to improve experimental learning in sciences for primary and secondary level, environmental sensitization programs, and digital learning of practical science. Now, she has been leading K-12 schools since 2015 and has fetched laurels to her school, which includes bagging the Green School Award by Ministry of Environment for past 5 consecutive years, leading the winner team, which bagged first position at national level in Adobe Creativity Challenge 2019, and amongst the most recent is the Edu Excellence Leaders Award for Community Engagement 2020, further humbled to be felicitated by various organizations, including KSLC Advent, Next Education, Ardorcom Media in 2021 for educational leadership and exceptional contributions to education during the pandemic. And at a very personal level, based on my conversations with her, she's somebody who's very, very passionate about making a difference in the lives of kids and believes that holistic development is the mantra towards success, raising successful kids. Uh, thank you very much for joining us on this show today. And I'm really, really looking forward to my conversation with you.
Namaskar. Thank you, Kamalneet ji, for these so powerful words. I'm humbled. I'm just trying my best, suiting to what I believe, and that's it.
Fantastic. I know that with your experience, all the parents out there will really benefit. So to all the parents out there, a quick reminder would be that I can tell you one thing: a lot of golden nuggets would be coming your way. You might want to have a pen and a paper, and take those gems with you so that they can stay with you and you can implement them. Now diving into the series. We have titled it as Success Principles by Successful Principles of Parenting Project. Now, I'm intrigued to ask you, success is a very, very broad term. It can mean different things to different people. How would you, at a personal level, how would you define success?
Yes, indeed, there are multiple definitions of success, and the definition is unique to each one of them. But if I want to define in one single statement, what should success be for every individual, I would say that on a given day, at a given time, I determine to do certain thing and I be able to complete it with dedication. And that uh, completion brings pleasure to me, brings pleasure around me as well, is something which is success. So these are little steps which are going to lead to a larger success in life and community.
That's brilliant. I think you kept it simple, and yet there is a very profound message that you have identified a few things that you intend to do, and you're dedicated, and you ensure that by the end of the day, that's taken care of. Brilliant. Now, because it can mean different things to different people, and eventually, when you talk to all the parents out there, the idea is that all the parents wants their kids to be successful. That's what everybody is majorly after. Now, in your understanding, what makes a child successful in the real life?
There is one definition which we associate with a word called career or vocation. And then there is a second definition which is success. And the major problem that we come across is we tend to overlap the meanings of career and vocation and success. These are two distinct words. Success does not have to do anything with your stream that you have chosen in life, your career that you are practicing, or the vocation that you are into. Success is everything to do with yourself and as an individual and people around you. And again, I come back to the first definition that I have quoted. If I am able to meet my targets, it keeps me contented. It keeps me satisfied. If I'm able to meet my targets, which are in sync with people around me, so that it is bringing happiness to people, it keeps me also happy when I'm giving something in terms of smiles to people around me. So that one, contentment, and the second thing is happiness. These two things coming to an individual every day, nothing can be more successful than this. We can have dreams. I may desire to attain a certain position. I may desire to reach a certain milestone. Let us say I'm a singer, I want to reach up a stage. Reaching there is not success, because the minute you reach there, you will have some other desire. So that is not success. There are stepping stones. And even if I desire to be, let us say, Prime Minister of India, once I become Prime Minister, I'll have multiple other things to do in my list. So that every day to-do list is very important, and meeting every day's milestones, and end of the day, being happy and contented with yourself and being able to create that ripple of happiness around you is something which is successful in day-to-day life. As an individual, if we start aspiring this, there will be no end to achieving success every day, and there'll be nothing that can stop you from desiring what you want to do. The only thing that we need to remember within quotes here is our desire should sync with our community. If we are not keeping the values of the community in our consideration, our desires are not in sync, and they are not going to be met easily. They are going to go in the wrong direction, possibly.
Very, very beautifully put. All the parents out there. I think, see, this is what exactly happens when you have a seasoned educator who gives you a very different lens to look at this whole idea of success. Now, I love what you said, that it's an endless chase. You reach one point, then you're looking for next. You reach there, you're looking for next. It's an endless chase. But if your goal is to bring happiness and contentment with your actions in your surroundings, I think that's real success. All the parents out there, if we start talking to our kids from an angle wherein their actions, they bring satisfaction, happiness, and contentment in whatever they do, I think that would be real success. Now, I'm very curious to ask you something. You have dealt with parents from all walks of life. Literally, you would have dealt with thousands of parents, literally. Now now sometimes, I firmly believe that no parent has a wrong intention, but sometimes there can be an action which isn't very supportive. Now, what do you think? Have you noticed a few non-supportive patterns in your interactions with the parents, and can you list them? Can you share with us your experience around it?
The very fundamental area that is a big area of concern is that as the sphere of knowledge availability is increasing over various resources, including Google, we bank more on these resources than, let us say, the experiences that the people have. I prefer to quickly check my symptoms over the internet and then take time to go to the doctor only when the disease becomes a little difficult for me to handle at my end. And this is the first, I think, wrong decision that we take. We have had a beautiful childhood with grandparents around. Sadly, as the society is progressing, the families are scattered and they do not have a joint family with seniors living in every family. One thing that goes with the grandparents is unconditional love and lots of time they have for the children. And that is the first thing that the children require. They need that unconditional love and support, and they need, we had Grandparents' Day celebration this year, and the children read out the acronym of grandparents, explaining what is G, R, A, N, and when they came to N, they said, they are never busy for us. And that was such a powerful statement. So be available to your children, listen to them. Listen to the experiences shared by the grandparents, because when they say don't scold the child, but be strict with discipline, they have a reason to it. Second thing, that somewhere many of us go wrong at some point or the other, we tend to compare from things or people around us. And we forget that the only comparison that we have to do is with ourselves. That applies to each one of us, but that applies a lot to the children, because the children are gradually coming into community living. They are seeing so much of difference around them. And at that point of time, if we start talking of equality, and if we start telling that you need to have what the other child is having, we start demanding, why are you not providing this to my child as a school? Why is this thing done in a school and not done in another school? Why does my child not receive so many awards on the stage like another child? Why does my child not receive a certain grade in a certain subject? This comparison will lead us to nowhere and is only going to create an anxiety in the children. It is very important that the children understand that the only comparison I have is from myself, from nowhere else. I can only be a better version of myself.
Very, very well put. In fact, was so moved by the answer. When you said that the acronym of grandparents, and when you said N stands for never busy for us, to all the parents out there, I think in this small line, in a small statement, to me, the way I see it, there's a huge message. When kids, they say that my parents don't have time for us, whether we realize it or not, it's harming them somewhere at a deeper level. and through the channel and through the platform, it's a humble appeal that yes, everybody is busy, not to say that you're not, but taking out time so that kids don't grow up and regret that they did not get your time is something that one has to consider. And another thing that you really spoke about, a pattern that you notice is that a lot of comparison, and I think comparison to a great extent hampers a child's overall mental health as well. I read somewhere a line which says that kids need compassion and not comparison. You beautifully put that thing to the table, wherein you spoke about why did you not receive this award. All the parents out there, I'm sure you might be smiling कि शायद हमारी बात हो रही है. But the point is very simple, that while you have this expectation out of your child, which he might not live up to, but and you don't have a control over their outcome, but you definitely have control over how you handle the whole situation. So no comparisons. And I think you did mention about the only comparison you can do. I like that part of it. The only comparison that you can do is that, are you a better version of yourself than you were yesterday? I think that's a good way that you have given to all of us, all the parents out there. सिर्फ बच्चों के लिए नहीं, I think it's equally applicable to all of us. Now they say that
I'll just add this: my student council takes this oath. Every day we are going to be a better version of ourselves.
Yeah,
this is the very important line in the oath taken by my student council here.
And I think even a percentage, even 1% of a change towards better will take them to a new direction altogether. Now, I want to break a notion here. Parents across the country, and I get to meet parents, and they have this idea that a principal is somebody who is very formal, and we don't get to know them at a deeper level. And I thought, let's break this notion and do something wherein parents can get to know the principals at a personal level a bit. So what I'm going to do is a little surprise here.
Okay.
I'm going to put you through a rapid fire, right? And which will have very, very basic questions, and that will help parents to know you a little better. Are you ready for it?
All right.
Done. So let's get into the rapid fire, and then we come back to the series of questions here. Now, let me start with a very basic one. So tea or coffee?
Tea, always.
Tea, got that. Summers or winters?
Winters.
Winters, got that. Mountains or beaches?
Mountains.
Mountains, got that. I just made a trip to Udaipur, and a fantastic place with a lot of Aravalli range visible there. And so I get that, mountains. Okay, Nimbu Pani or coconut water?
Nimbu Pani.
Nimbu Pani, got that. Indian or Chinese?
Indian.
Indian, okay. And Indian and Italian?
Indian.
Okay, so Indian it is. I know the answer now. Okay. Let me, it's time for, let me bring it to something to the, from the breakfast timings. Chole bhature or aloo paranthe?
Aloo paratha.
Aloo paranthe, got that.
Okay.
Got that. With butter, without butter?
With butter.
With butter, got that.
And curd the Punjabi way.
Good curd, perfect. ठीक है जी. I think now I'm feeling a little hungry. Okay, so English or maths? Academics?
English.
English. Confidence or knowledge?
Knowledge.
Knowledge. Okay. Any reason why?
There's no choice here, because once you have knowledge, confidence comes along.
Got that. Got that. So once you have knowledge, the confidence comes along. Okay. So phone call or a text?
The norms have changed now because everyone is busy. Otherwise, my answer would always remain phone call.
Phone call. Got that. So a sunrise or a sunset?
Sunrise.
Sunrise. Nice.
And sunset both.
And sunset both. But if you have to make a choice?
I'm an early morning person.
Okay, so sunrise. Got that. Facebook or LinkedIn?
Neither.
Neither. Got that. Bollywood or Hollywood?
Bollywood.
I missed that. Bollywood, Holly?
Bollywood.
Bollywood. Got that. So as an educator, you get to be in a lot of conferences, events, seminars, and they can be huge. So what would you prefer? A big party or a small gathering?
Small, close, warm gathering.
Small, close, warm gathering. Correct?
Absolutely.
Got that. So, okay, now shopping online or offline?
Offline.
I think you would want to have a touch and feel of the stuff.
World is running too fast, but the pauses are beautiful.
True, and I loved it. Pauses are beautiful. I think that's a quote I'm going to take back. Great. So we'll come back again to rapid fire. Now let me move ahead and ask you something that and it's going to be a difficult one, by the way. Now with more than 20 years of experience, right? You would have seen a lot of it. You would have seen various ideologies that work. You would have seen various principles, as in the parenting principles that support. You would have seen uh, various mindsets that support. Now, from your 20 years of, more than 20 years of experience, if you have to pull out top three advices for all the parents out there, what would those be?
One, and most important, every day find one time to eat together, be it breakfast or dinner. One meal should be taken together without the television, where the family is sitting with food and they are conversing.
Okay.
Whatever topic you choose. That is a one golden rule, which is a must. They say the family which prays together stays together. I say the family which eats together stays together.
Yes, that's a good one. So one meal together.
One meal together, very important. Second thing, read a lot as parents. The more you read, the more your children will read. Certain habits we don't realize are picked more by imbibing than by instructions or by rules. And a very simple example for the parents who've grown up saying that this is something in my parent, let us say, which I would never do. And after certain years, you end up realizing that, oh, you are doing exactly the same thing that you said you would never do. So that is the power of absorbing from your surroundings. Do read a lot. Reading is going to not just help you as a parent, reading is a meditation in itself. You have to sit. The children today complain, oh, I'm getting bored. Where is that concept of boredom coming from? It is coming from the very fact that the children are used to getting a new stimulus every minute. We have given them mobiles. Okay, we take them to park. Okay, you're not restless. You're now done with this. Now let us put you into another coaching. Now let us go for the music coaching. Now let us do the dance thing. Don't. Let the children have that habit of sitting with themselves, reading and reading slowly, so that you absorb the pulse of reading and you develop the habit of reflecting on what you have read. So you can also talk about what has been read. That is second most important thing. Okay? And I'm not relating to many rules of parenting that are talked here and there on different platforms. I'm talking of certain experiences that which I have also absorbed from my own childhood experiences. I had been a science person, but I love English. And we can talk about history, we can talk about poetry, we can talk about Vedas, and all this came through the conversations on the table and the books that I'd seen around me. So these things are very important. And third thing, nothing will teach the child more than traveling and going out. Go out with the children as much as you can. Whether you're going to Switzerland or you're going to Nainital or you're going to Chandni Chowk. Go out with your children and let the children also do little things when you are traveling. Okay, I'm taking chart here. Please go and get chola bhaturas from there. So give them that independence. They're never too young to do these little things. Let the children absorb as much of experiences as you can give them. beyond the books. The book should always be a pleasure reading for the children. If you start giving them pleasure reading, they will read much beyond pleasure reading, and you will be very happy as a parent.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And, I think the three golden rules. So let me see if my almonds are working well. So you did mention about one meal together, and I think I'm thinking of creating it into an acronym. Due credits to you, OMT, one meal together.
Okay.
Yeah. So OMT, one meal together. I think that's very powerful because I think that's one time wherein kids can talk to you, you can talk to your kids, and a lot of unsaid conversations which otherwise just diffuse, they can happen on the table. So
And the most important thing here is one meal together minus the devices.
minus
Look at each other.
Yeah, I think this was the most crucial part of the conversation. One meal together minus devices. So OMT minus D. So that's the equation then. Reading, you spoke about, reading, very, very crucial again. Can't hold but share with you that, all the parents, in fact, also just came back from a trip, and I found a library in this hotel. And I was very surprised that hotels generally do not have a library. And I went to the library and I sat there for some time reading. And my son walked up to me and he said, "आप यहाँ पे भी किताबें पढ़ रहे हो?" I said, "I like it." And he went out again to the play zone. 15 minutes later, he came back again and he picked up a book. Though he only, flipped through for a couple of minutes, but he came back, flipped it, and went back again. And I was thinking to myself that, something transpired. He came and he looked at the book and he probably went away. But I think what you said, that when you grew up, you saw books in your environment, and that makes a huge difference. And the third is traveling and gathering a lot of experiences. I've heard that when you travel, you unravel. So travel and let your kids gather a lot of experiences. Fantastic. So this is one. Now, I'm very, very curious to understand. See, if you look at things around, competition is increasing. We can't deny that. Things are changing at a very rapid pace. New technologies coming in, new ways of working happening. Can't deny the fact that it's not getting easier. It's only getting tougher. The competition is on the rise. What would you say? What skills should kids learn early in life that will make them stand out? In the real world out there.
I would love to answer this question, and possibly I would love to deliberate on it a little longer, unlike my being crisp. My favorite quote from Alice in Wonderland says that the world is moving fast, and if you have to keep pace with the world, you have to run twice as fast, only to keep pace with the world. And if you have to reach anywhere, you have to further add on to it. Now, this coming from Alice in Wonderland, written years ago, holds true even from the prehistoric times. The changes happen. And there's a beautiful quote from Khalil Gibran, which says, "The children are born to the future." And every generation, the children are born to the future, and the present generation is always coming from a generation prior to that. So we cannot prepare the children for future, but there are certain fundamental skills, irrespective of the age or the era, which are very important for learning, and that should not be missed out in the process of learning technology, understanding the changes happening in the world, because you don't know by the time these children grow up, some of the technology that we are talking of might not even remain that day.
True.
Something new must have come up. So no matter what shape the world takes, the human beings will remain social animals. They will have fundamental emotions. They will have fundamental process of growth, repair, regeneration in the bodies. And these are the skills which are very vital to make the children strong within themselves. I'll take example from a curriculum that we are following here. We call it Happiness, which has got 4 levels. And that's a beautiful curriculum. Okay, that is meant for wellness. Level 1 is being aware, being happy and being proud of ourselves. So I know what I am. I'm happy with what I am and I'm proud of myself. That means irrespective of color, caste, region, religion, shape, size, I'm accepting myself. That also means that I'm accepting the differences around me. There's someone else who's something else, and I'm embracing those differences with no comparisons, with no qualms. And that also means that I'm aware that things are not the same, things are not equal in the world. So that is level 1, being aware, happy, and proud of myself, others, including the environment. Second thing is learning the boundaries of acceptable and non-acceptable. What are the boundaries? And I think these emotional wellness programs are the fundamental thing that every school should very elaborately teach to the children. Understanding the boundaries of the acceptable and non-acceptable, and I am not against, I'm strictly against using of negative words. There's a very common phrase which is used in the POXCO guidelines also: teach the children good touch, bad touch. And the minute we teach them, there is going to be one population that is going to go towards the bad. That's the general psychology.
Correct.
Mummy says, don't do this. I'll try. My mummy is saying, don't do this. I must try. So remove those negative words from the communication and understand the acceptable and not acceptable for myself. Remove the don'ts. So once I know this is acceptable, I want to be loved and I don't want to be. It's not acceptable to be shouted at. It's acceptable to be loved. So understand those acceptable and non-acceptable. It applies to me, it applies to others, and it applies to the things, animals and plants also around me. So that acceptable and non-acceptable is the second level. Okay. Then the third level is how to draw the boundaries and say no to the non-acceptables. And then comes the final level, which says that if there is extreme toxicity, which you cannot control, where the not acceptable is beyond your control, how to safeguard my wellness, my happiness, and stay not affected by the non-acceptable, which I'm unable to control. So this kind of lesson and skill, I think, will come handy in any age, no matter where you go, no matter what level of success you attain.
True.
And once we have learned this, we become strong, we become resilient, we become adaptable. And that is why the world is now realizing that EQ is more important than the IQ.
True.
The EQ building, I think, will handle most of the skills that the children will need for tomorrow. Rest, everything they will pick up. You never taught them calculators. True. A baby can handle a touch device. We don't need to teach that to children.
Not only can they handle, sometimes, we as parents, we go back to the kids and ask them, that how do we manage this part of it? The kids are pretty smart that ways. And for all the parents out there, EQ stands for emotional quotient, and EQ is more important than the intelligence quotient these days. And the skills that you spoke about, very profound. I think they will stand the test of all times, because no matter what time comes, what kind of future we probably get into, having the ability and the mechanisms to have all these skills in place will help us not only survive, but I think it will help us thrive as well. So thank you for sharing that, and I'm glad that a lot is happening at DIS Edge under your capable leadership, wherein kids are learning about life, and not just academics, but they're learning about life. Now, coming back to a part that I really like, the rapid fire, and I like the smile on your face. You knew it's coming. Okay, got that. So my next one to you is email or a handwritten letter?
Handwritten letter anytime.
Anytime. Got that.
Anytime.
Anytime.
Even in the era of email, I first pen it on pen and paper. And I think that connection is very strong. The children should never leave pen and paper.
Perfect. So a letter it is, and a handwritten one. Sweets or savories?
Sweets.
Sweets. Save or spend?
Spend and save.
Both. Got that. Got that. Okay.
There has to be a balance.
There has to be a balance. Got it. A horror movie or a comedy?
Comedy.
Comedy. Got
Comedy. That. Life has to be pleasant.
True, true. I get that. Having spoken to you, you would want to keep the environment light and bright. Got it. So comedy it is. A board game or a game on a mobile?
A board game.
A board game. And any favorites from your childhood?
My mobile is not having any games on it.
Okay, got that. And any favorite board game from your childhood?
We used to play Brain Vita a lot.
Okay, Brain Vita. Okay, got that.
But then what happens is once you're playing a a board game,
yeah,
especially when they are individual games, yes, you master the skills and then you grow out of it. So there were 2-3 board games which we played, and then we knew we'll be able to solve it within half a minute.
Well, that's, so you mastered that.
So it has been changing over the period of time. But yes, my childhood memories are Brain Vita.
Got that. Got. And any experiences with Ludo and Snakes and Ladder?
Ludos were. I'll define my summer vacations as Ludo tournaments.
Ludo tournaments.
All the cousins would come together. Summer vacations were spent in one family or the other, my family or Mama's family or Masi's family. Right. And the afternoons and the evenings would either be cards or Ludos.
Or Ludos.
Fantastic. So they used to be tournaments.
Yeah, I think good times, good memories. Good memories.
Thank you for reminding those.
Most welcome. So a book or ebook?
Book.
Book. What that? Okay.
I sleep with ebooks.
Sorry, you'll sleep with ebooks. Okay, so yeah, so we're in the same boat. I think the smell of the paper and the whole idea of writing and highlighting, I think is not offered with an ebook as such. The feeling is not there for that. Now, I've had the privilege to meet you. I've had the privilege to speak to you and have understood your journey, and you've come a long way, and very, very happy for you. But it wasn't easy, right? So the journey takes in a lot of things. Now, I'm a little curious to know what are your mantras of success? What helped you move up and forward?
One, passion. What has been most significant blessing to my journey has been the unconditional support of my parents and my family, my spouse. Without that, I think none of us can progress. So I always say that our immediate community, our immediate sphere is very important. And that bonding is very important. I have always loved children. And when you shared my journey, you also mentioned colleges and universities. Yes. So I've had brief stints in colleges and universities. I was into science research, and I dreamt of becoming a scientist or a professor. And then I joined NSIT also in the biotechnology department. But before joining NSIT, I have briefly been with school during when my children were younger. So I took a break from my research career and I joined schools. And then I again joined NSIT in the research department. And I realized that I'm not enjoying the grown-up children as much as I enjoyed the younger children. And that is where the passion portion stepped in and held me tight, pulling me back from the research and bringing me back to school. The smiles of the children, the desire to make some difference, every day bring an innovation into what I'm doing is something that kept me innovating more and more. Earlier, I was teaching students of 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, science stream only. So I used to take them to new places, new labs every day. We would design experiments together. They would say, ma'am, you don't want to study today. I said, okay, let's go out in the garden. And then we would discuss something in the garden. They would not realize they would complete a chapter. The joy that I saw in 20-30 eyes gave me more joy, more pleasure to do more of it. And I think all of us, if you want to be successful, you need to find that pleasure, that joy, that passion. Everything else follows. Everything else follows.
I think that's a classic message. All the parents out there, while that journey is being shared, and how you had an experience of working with different age groups. I think the classical message that I took away from the conversation is that it's important that our kids they get into careers which they enjoy, not you, all the parents out there, not you, the careers that they enjoy.
Very important.
Very crucial point out there.
And don't stop the children from doing anything, because you don't know what they might end up doing.
True.
Our imaginations are limited. Their imaginations are far, far stretched. There are two things that I always maintain. One, listen to your elders. And second, express your heart out. So both the things, then you are able to evaluate the pros and cons and reach at a conclusive decision.
I think brilliantly put. So all the parents out there, I know that you've taken a lot of gems from there, and the career, in a very subtle yet in a very profound way, what you shared about how crucial it is to enjoy your career. That's one of my favorites. Now imagine that you are on a speakerphone, and your audience, you are speaking into a microphone, and the entire students across are listening to you. What would be your key message into that microphone to all the students out there?
So I'm reminded of all the batches that I've had so far. And my first statement to each and every child used to be, children, I love you. You're the reason for my energy, for my smile, and I love you the way you are. I love the naughty ones, and I love the serious ones. That is the first message to all the children. Second, don't stop dreaming, but support your dreams with the actions required to make those dreams true. Enjoy the distractions only as salt and pepper. Do not make the distractions the rice and the dal portion of your food. So that should be the quantum of distractions. The distractions, the fun portion is essential, but that should not become the main portion. Otherwise, the carbs and the fats will be deficient, and the minerals and the vitamins will become more in your life, which is not required.
Very uniquely put. Very uniquely put.
I think you started with breakfast and you've created the entire platter around.
I think we had all the meals across the day.
My children would always nag me for the kind of similes and metaphors I would be using in class, but everything used to come from biology, and I would tell them, children, there's no biology there's no life if we are not talking biology. So biology has to step in everywhere, either as food or as plants or as living organisms.
True. So so that is very much a part of you. Having taught and having done work in that field, that's very much a part of you, and we can see that in your examples all through. And very, very beautiful conversation. And all the parents out there, I can tell you one thing, that whatever you have heard, if you can take a part of it and put it into implementation, it is an implementation that you will have the results. It is an implementation that you see the changes. It is an implementation that you see a new behavior, and it is an implementation that you see a new outcome. And I want to thank all the parents out there for being with us, for joining us, for taking these inputs, and we wish you and your kids a very happy, a very successful, a very satisfying journey ahead. And Madam, thank you so much for those metaphors, for those similes, for those stories, for those experiences. I totally enjoy the conversation, and not only for the parents, a lot of learnings for myself as well. Thank you very much for your time and your valuable inputs. I look forward to many such conversations with you.
Thank you so much, Kamal GT. Pleasure is all mine. I loved interacting with you. I hope with my few words, what I have learned from my teachers, my gurus, my parents, create a ripple the way you have been doing with so many principles. This is a profound thing, a very significant thing. And I hope the children also carry this message that they have to respect everyone around them, all sects of life, including all teachers, and also embrace the differences. We are all humans, we are all born with lots of errors. So let us celebrate the differences with the highs and the lows. Thank you so much.
Great conclusion. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.